Hey, it's John, and you are back on the Corona Files for episode 24, where I'm going to walk you through my favorite Shopify apps for high-ticket dropshipping stores. So, of course, this is the Corona Files, where we're walking through building high-ticket dropshipping businesses from scratch in 2020. And as a part of building e-commerce sites on Shopify, of course, you're going to use apps. One of the great things about Shopify is that it has a really large library of apps that allow you to extend its functionality and assist you to do some marketing. I've been using Shopify now for over 6 years, and so I've tested a whole range of different apps. I've tried this and that to do all sorts of different things, and of course I've kind of narrowed it down to my favorite ones, the ones that I use all the time, and so I'm going to share those with you now, as well as some sort of tools that I use to help me with my marketing. In various ways, which aren't necessarily Shopify apps, but they are things that I use regularly for high-ticket dropshipping businesses on the Shopify platform. So before I dive into it, of course, if you want to get access to all the recordings for the Corona Files, you can go to buildsellgrowrepeat.com/corona-files. You can see that scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now if you're watching live. And you'll get access to all the links to all the apps in there that I talk about in this episode. I'm going to run through a whole bunch now, and so if you're watching this on the recorded version, if you're listening to audio or whatever, you can get in and get all the links to all the different things. No affiliate codes, no affiliate links or anything like that. It's just the straight up links, and you can start using these things on your own business. So the other caveat I'll put on this as well is that I've been doing e-commerce for a number of years now. Some of these apps do cost money. Some of them are reasonably expensive. So where I'm talking about one that's fairly expensive, I'll suggest a cheaper version that I've used and that I know works well, because not everybody wants to start out with one of these businesses using the most expensive apps. These things definitely do add up. And so if you're not confident you're generating the revenue yet to support their use, you don't use them. You don't always need to use them, and that sort of thing. The other thing I'll say is that the apps that I'm going to run through here, I don't necessarily use all of them on every single high-ticket dropshipping business I use. Some of them have specific use cases, and I'll only use them if I need that functionality or that particular use for a particular business based on the type of products I'm selling, their attributes, or sort of some of the marketing things I might want to do for that business. So let me jump in, share my screen up here with you all, and jump right in. So I'm basically, you can see here, if you can see on my browser, if you're watching the video, of course, I've got a whole bunch of tabs open, and this was the quickest way I could pull up all the different apps that I use, just clicking through them in a few Shopify accounts. So I'm just going to run through these, as I said on the recording. If you get that for free at the link that I've shared, you can, of course, get access to all the links if you can't keep up here. So starting at the top, I'm going to start with customer service, online chat particularly. So I use primarily Gorgeous, which you can see here, which is a more expensive option. It's a very thorough option. It's a very complete option for managing your customer service where you've got higher volumes. And so it will manage all your things like, on-site chat, tagging customer accounts, being able to follow things live, like when a customer comes into contact with you, what orders they've already placed. It's a very thorough tool. I'll walk through it at a later date when we're actually running live traffic to one of the sites we're building here. But that's the one that I use. Like I say, it is expensive. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative just to get sort of the on-site chat functionality happening particularly, I would recommend Talk2. So that's Talk, TAWK.TO. It's a super cheap, it's even free in the beginning, but it is super cheap, and it has great functionality for an on-site chat app. And it's really a great place. If I was starting with no money, and I didn't want to spend very much on apps at all, this would be the tool I would use. It is also very fast from a site speed perspective. So there are a few Shopify chat apps out there that slow your site down considerably. And the main one of those that I'll call out is Tidio, which I did used to use for years, going back a few years. that app is actually quite slow. I've speed tested some of these apps and looked at the impact they have on site speed. And Tidio is a slow one, so which is a shame because it's not a bad app, the app itself, but I would steer clear of that one. So Talk2, nice and fast, easy to use, good interface, good for the customers. Use that if you don't want to spring for the higher priced options. Keeping running through, Easy Tabs. So Easy Tabs adds tabs to your product pages, right? Now you can of course code those things in, but the making them dynamic and having dynamic content in some of your tabs and things like that can be a little bit more difficult from a coding perspective. So once again, if you're just starting out and you don't have your own developer, you don't have the funds to pay a developer, maybe Easy Tabs is a great option. It's very light, once again, from a page speed perspective, and it's got some great functionality. So I'm actually using this in the stores you're gonna see demonstrated, so I can show that to you what it looks like, and it's a good option. It's fast. Now, I try to use as few apps as possible that are actually going to load on the front end of the site, right? And that's important because every time you add an app, right, that's going to display something on your customer-facing pages, it's going to add some sort of cost in terms of page speed, right? So you really want to think long and hard about apps that you're going to add to your site that are going to increase your page load time, because we all know having a page that loads quickly is very good from a conversion rate perspective, but also it has implications for things like your relevancy scores on your paid ads, as well as your SEO performance. So Easy Tabs is a nice and fast app. It doesn't have much of an impact there, and it gives you a great little bit of functionality. Next one we'll look at is rewind backups. So of course, whenever you're doing anything online, you always want to back up as much of your data as you can in case the unthinkable happens and somehow, things get lost, things get deleted, whatever it might be. So other platforms like WordPress and that sort of thing have, much more extensive backup functionality built into them than Shopify does. But rewind backups gives you the ability to back up your Shopify account, your site, everything you can undo, recover, or restore, as it says there on the screen. So this is the app I use to back everything up as far as my Shopify account goes. And I think it's, while you may never use it because Shopify is very reliable, you don't really want to run the risk that you're going to lose things. If, as I say, there is some unforeseen circumstance where your account is impacted, data is lost, this app will help you out on that front. Product questions and answers. So for high ticket products, people often have a lot of questions, right? And being able to ask those on your site and have a record on the product page of those things so that other customers who might also have those questions can see the answers without having to call into your business and load up your customer service time is a really good thing to do. This app, Product Questions and Answers, is one that I use to do that. Advanced product options. Now, I don't use this one on every site, right? So some high-ticket products, or a lot of high-ticket products, can have a lot of options, right? I've seen ones with up to 100 options for a single product. And the sort of inbuilt Shopify variants and option system is good, but it does have a limit on how many different options you can have and the amount of value for the amount of values within each of those options. So sometimes, depending on the nature of your products, you need an app to extend that functionality further. And so this is the app I use for that. It's called Advanced Product Options. And like I say, I would only use this because this does add weight to your site from a page speed perspective. I would only use this if I absolutely have to, right? So if it's not something I can do with the inbuilt Shopify system, I would add an app like this. There are plenty of options for apps that do product options, and there are some other good ones. This is just the one that I use. Now, moving more into some of the marketing stuff, Sitemap and No Index Manager. is an app I use primarily, not so much for the sitemap functionality, because you can manage that yourself, and I do manage the sitemap side of things myself. I don't use an app to add sitemaps or anything like that. The reason I use this app is for the no index functionality. It's a quick and easy way to add no index tags to individual pages that you don't want Google to include in its index. And so this is getting into the technical SEO side of things. Being able to no index pages is an important thing to be able to do to manage your SEO. I'll go into that in some detail in a future episode when we keep diving further and further into the SEO side of marketing in a high-ticket dropshipping business. But there are a whole bunch of pages on your site that you actually don't want Google to index or to rank or anything like that. Maybe it's because they don't have much content on them, so they're thin content. Or pages like your contact us page, you don't actually need that index. Your shipping and returns pages or any other sort of little admin pages that you've created for a specific purpose, it doesn't really add any value to your site from an SEO perspective. And so this is the app I use to quickly and easily do that. JSON LD for SEO. So this is an app that I use to help me manage schema markup. So that I can get rich snippets into Google search results or organic results. So, you can, once again, schema markup is something you can implement yourself. It's just basically code that gets added to your pages. The reason I use an app for this is that schema markup does change from time to time. And I can't be bothered staying on top of what the changes are, right? So I'm happy to pay somebody else to do that for me. Basically, whenever there's a change to schema markup, app developers should be updating their apps to take into account the latest changes and make sure they're implemented on your site. This app does that very well, but it is a bit more expensive. So it actually went up in price recently. It used to be a lot cheaper. So it's a one-off payment now. But it's a very good app. It does the job well. But if you do want another option, you don't want to spend that much money up front. And like I say, you need schema markup. It adds a lot of value to you and a lot of it's not something that actually impacts on your rankings as such. What it's about is putting better looking results on the Google search page, so people are more likely to click on your organic listings. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter. In the beginning, your site's not going to rank straight away. So people aren't going to be seeing your organic listings immediately, but you do want to that's going to grow over time if you're doing the right things with your site. And so you do want to have good looking search results. Things like having the price of products in your search results dynamically. Things like having your review stars showing or how many reviews you've got and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I use that. Now, if you want another alternative, this app here, Seo Expert Pro, which comes in at a lower, over time it's going to work out to be the same cost because it's a month-to-month payment, but the initial upfront payment is lower if you do want to get schema markup and a bunch of other stuff done on your site from an SEO perspective. This app is actually pretty good with that. I've used it on a couple of sites, and for the price, it's not a bad result. So this is another option that you can use. Now, sticking with the sort of fast pages SEO side of things, AMP pages you might be familiar with are basically pages that Google that get stripped down of a lot of the CSS and coding and stuff and get cached in Google's system, so they load almost instantaneously on mobile devices. You might have seen the sort of little lightning bolt AMP icon next to organic search results, and that denotes an AMP page. So Google has been quite clear and has been moving towards favoring on mobile search results pages that load very fast. So basically AMP and this app by ShopSheriff allows you to have AMP versions of all of your web pages that can be indexed by Google. And so this app makes it very easy to create those and manage those. And certainly I have seen decent results from having those pages available across a number of sites, as well as some of my students have as well, been using this in more recent times and seeing some results from it. So definitely worth checking out. moving on from SEO into the sort of pay-per-click world, when we're going to use things like Google Shopping, when we're going to run Facebook catalog ads or retargeting ads, you need to have a product feed sent through to those destinations. So firstly, for Google, to get on Google Shopping Actions, and do dynamic retargeting ads on Google, you've got to serve a shopping feed through to Google Merchant Center. So for that, the cheap option, I use Feed for Google Shopping by Synprosis Infomedia. I've been using it for years. It's a really solid app. It's reliable, and it has pretty good customization for the price. The alternative to using an app like, and I should say, the Shopify Google Sales Channel thing is rubbish. Don't use it. It still doesn't work very well. I'm not sure why Shopify can't get their act together on that. So you need an app. Now, the other alternative to using this app is to use a specialist feed tool run by a feed management company. There's a few options there, but they are more expensive. Once again, you get super amounts of control over your product data, and product data optimization is very important for those sort of shopping ads, Google Shopping Actions as well. And I think for the new free Google Shopping listings that Google's been rolling out in recent times, making sure your product data is good and clean and relevant to the search terms you want to target is a very useful optimization activity that you need to be undertaking. So if you want to spend a bit more to get your feed really well optimized, you can use a service like Data Feed Watch, which is the one that I use. I think it's about, at the moment, $55 a month. So that's worth checking out. There's a couple of other notable mentions there. Feedonomics is a good one, which I've used. Once again, it's even a bit more expensive, but that can, when you start to get into using these tools, you can also use all of these tools to send data feeds to a whole bunch of different locations. So not just Google Shopping, you can use them. And if I click on here, I'm hoping they might give me a little list here. So you can export here with Data Feed Watch and do Google Shopping, Facebook, Amazon, Bing, eBay, Pinterest, and you can even create custom channels. If you've got a marketplace that you want to integrate to, you can actually set up things. So if you are looking at doing all of these, I mean, you're probably going to do Google, Facebook, and Bing, but if you want to get some products onto Amazon, eBay, etc., then spending $50 a month to condense all of that into one platform that you can manage in one place can actually be a good idea, rather than having 5, 6, or whatever apps on your Shopify site, right? So that's worth thinking about if you get to that point. But if you're not going to do that, you're going to stick with single apps. This is the one I use for Facebook product feeds, Flexify. Once again, it's got a free plan, and any additional charges are pretty cheap. So this is a good one. Been using this one for years. So that's the sort of pay-per-click related apps that I use. Everything I do with pay-per-click ads, I manage myself. I don't use any apps to implement, like a lot of people use like ROI Hunter and apps like this to set up retargeting ads and things like that. I don't do that. I set up all my ads myself, or I don't use a Shopify app to do those things or to implement tracking codes or anything like that. I know how to do all of that myself, and I find it's a more reliable way to do it, doing it myself. So that's why you won't see me mention any of those sort of apps. Now, from that sort of marketing, I'm going to jump over to email marketing, right, which is another massive thing I'm really big on, and you need a couple of things to help you do this well. So I'm starting to get into some tools here that are not necessarily just Shopify apps. They actually work across a range of platforms. They have their own websites that you load them off and things like that, but I wanted to mention them. I use a lot of tools more for the marketing side of things than I do for the on-site things, right? So, and I do think using the right tools does significantly improve your marketing. So the first thing I want to do on my site is I always want to be capturing email addresses. There's a whole range of different ways that I do this. And the tool that I use to display all of my email opt-ins, whether that's on content pages, collection pages, product pages, exit intent pop-ups, inline forms, all that sort of stuff. I use Opt-in Monster. I also use this on platforms like WordPress and others as well, but it integrates with Shopify. And in my view, I've really tried almost all of these tools in the opt-in space, and I keep coming back. I've come back to Opt-in Monster now for years. There are other pretty good ones out there, but I think this one offers the best mix of power, features, designability, and ease of integration that I've seen. So Opt-in Monster is the one I recommend. You have to pay annually, so it does have a larger upfront cost. So if you're looking for a good alternative that's a lot cheaper, I would check out one called Just You Know, which is a Shopify app, and it is an app. It's pretty quick, which is important, and one that people use a lot. Privy, I would not recommend you use that one. It's very slow. That's the downside with it. It's not the app itself isn't terrible, but it is slow. It slows down your site. Just You Know is faster, which is something worth keeping in mind. Now, for email marketing itself, forget the opt-ins. I'm going to do some email marketing. I use Drip for email marketing these days. This is a more recent development for me. So for many years, from the day I started in e-commerce, I had used Klaviyo, which is what probably, the largest group of Shopify users and high-ticket dropshippers are probably using right now. Klaviyo is a great tool for email. It's a great email autoresponder, but there are a number of things over the last 12 months to 18 months that I have liked less with Klaviyo. I think they're sort of starting to drop the ball a little bit. So for years, they were way ahead. It was built specifically for Shopify pretty much. The integration was deeper than, say, MailChimp or the other options at the time. And it was years ahead when they first brought that out, in my opinion. But lately, there's been some people catching them up, and I think Drip's actually overtaken them. I prefer the interface, so particularly for building automated email sequences. The integration with Shopify is just as good in terms of what customer data it pulls out. I think it's a lot fresher, and I'm enjoying using it much more. So this is now the one that I recommend to my students and my clients and anybody else who I come across. So check it out if you're looking for an alternative to Klaviyo, if that's what you're using at the moment. Now, moving on from there, I like to use on-site quizzes to encourage people to opt into my email list to deliver them personalized help to find the right product for them. And I'll use these on places like collection pages, content pages, and even sometimes product pages, depending on the nature of the product. So I'm going to demonstrate using this tool on a site in the near future, but they're super cool. So this is all about on-site personalization, which is great for conversion rate optimization. And it also adds people to your email list, so you can use it to add people to your email list. So you can actually see this tool in action right now if you go to one of my websites, johnwarren.me or Build, Sell, Grow, Repeat. I've got this tool in use on those on the home pages, on surveys, quizzes there, to help people work out what's the best way to work with me, services or courses that I offer or whatever it might be. So it's awesomely powerful in terms of building really personalized kind of on-site quizzes, which are a great marketing opportunity for a high-ticket dropshipping business. Not a lot of people have cottoned onto this yet in the high-ticket dropshipping space, but outside of that space, this stuff does get used for a lot of e-commerce businesses. So it's well worth checking out if you want to add a bit of personalization to your website. Continuing with the marketing flow, I do SMS marketing for e-commerce businesses. I love SMS marketing because it has, while SMSs are short, and this kind of feels like a return to the early 2000s or 90s or something, SMS has a super high open rate. People always read their messages on their phones, like 80% open rates, is not unusual for SMS. So it can be a fantastic way to keep in touch with your customers post-purchase. So you can use it to deliver them timely messages post-purchase, but you can also use it for upsells. You can use it to re-engage customers sometime after they've purchased, or if you have a way to get people's phone numbers pre-purchase, you can also use it for marketing there as well. So this is the tool. SMS Bump is the tool I use for SMS marketing. It's a fantastic tool. I really love it. So check that out if you're interested in doing a bit of SMS marketing. Now, moving on from that, getting into upsells. So upsells are really important, right? On any e-commerce site, you want to increase your average order value. That's one of the ways you grow any business. And there's a couple of tools I use for that. So the first one, one-click upsell. This is Ezra Firestone's deal. This is a post-purchase upsell tool. So after the customer has bought their main item, this will offer them an upsell. And the advantage of doing that is that it doesn't disrupt. So a lot of upsell apps offer the upsell pre-purchase. So the customer clicks to check out, it inserts something before the checkout page to offer them an upsell. I don't really like that. I think for me that is interrupting their journey, and it's giving them an option to quit out before, if they don't like that, if they find that intrusive, it gives them an option to get out, right, before they actually make it to the checkout page and buy the high-ticket product you wanted them to buy. Your upsell may be a lower-priced product often that they can add to their core product, right, to make it to extend its functionality or whatever it might be. And so, the upsell isn't the main game here. Getting the big purchase is the main game. The upsell is the icing on the cake, right? So you don't want to offer somebody to eat the icing before they've even bought the cake, right? It doesn't make sense to me, and I think from my experience, it actually leads to more abandoned checkouts sometimes to do that. Whereas if you offer the upsell after they've purchased the main product, after they've finished that product, the purchase is locked in, if they decide they don't like the upsell at that point, well, that's fine, because they've already bought the main product and they can just continue on with their day, but a proportion of people will buy that upsell post-purchase. It's less intrusive and it doesn't disrupt the main sales flow. So this is what I use to do that. If I'm going to do that on a high-ticket dropshipping site, which I usually do want to. In terms of adding upsells on the product page, I tend to use Frequently Bought Together. This app here, you can offer bundles, and all that sort of stuff. So this is the one I use for that. And I've been using this across a whole bunch of sites over the last few years. More marketing stuff. I love to use competitions to help me increase my email subscriber lists and to get a bit of social media action happening and that sort of thing. Get people signed up following my social accounts, adding a bit of social proof that way. And the tool I use to run competitions is Gleam.io. It integrates with Shopify and most of your other marketing tools, and it's a really awesome competition tool. So it does a few other things, but I only really use it to do the competition side of things. So if you're interested in running competitions for your store, like I say, competitions are fun. You can get an element of virality if your prizes are decent, and it's a really great way to get people onto your email list and then try to further develop them towards becoming paying customers. The downside of competitions is that you're not targeting people who are in the buying cycle necessarily right now, so it's a very top of funnel activity. But if you have, if you have the capability through your email marketing and other things to move people through the sales funnel over time, then it can generate good returns for you. It's a good activity to use, and it definitely can get the word out there in your niche about your business. I do, for some high-ticket dropshipping stores, messenger marketing, so Facebook Messenger marketing, and if I'm going to do that, I will use Mobile Monkey as my tool for that. This one also does do SMS marketing, and you can also use it for your on-site chat as well. The advantage of doing that is when somebody chats with you, of course, they're chatting through Messenger, so they get added to your Messenger subscriber list, and you can market them using other, other Messenger ads and things like that. So Mobile Monkey, there's a few other tools like ManyChat and things like that in this space, but I prefer Mobile Monkey. So this is the one I use if I'm going to do that. Offering affiliate, having affiliate offers, working with affiliates, and also offering customers the ability to refer your products for a reward is a really smart thing to do for high-ticket dropshipping businesses. And so if I'm going to have an affiliate program in place, I use Refersion at refersion.com. Once again, integrates very easily with Shopify. And this is a good idea, right? I mean, affiliates, there are plenty of affiliates out there to market your products. And think about it this way. A lot of people go, oh, well, I can't afford to do affiliate stuff. And that's not really the reality, right? Basically, if you want to find affiliates, generally all you need to do is match Amazon's affiliate levels, right? For whatever your category of product is. And sometimes that's really low, like 8%, 6%, something like that. That's not very high. If you think about it, most people are spending that percentage of their sale price on pay-per-click ads to get a sale. So when you're doing an affiliate offer, you're working with affiliates, people, people that run affiliate blogs, that sort of stuff, other influencers. The cost, if they make any sales, is going to be, can be similar to what you're spending on ads and things like that anyway. So you're just replacing that. It's no better, it's no worse, but it just gives you other ways to use other people's attention, to hack other people's attention from audiences that they've built up over years that it's going to take you a long time to build up. Having an affiliate program and outreaching to affiliates is a good way to get around that. But you can also use a tool like this to offer your customers who love your business, they love the products, etc., a way to go out to their friends and family or other people and say, here, buy this product, it's great, and they can earn something along the way. Right, so Refersion is the one I use for that. There are other tools for loyalty programs as well out there that are good, but this is the one that I use. Bonjoro, I've recommended this in one of my groups before. This is a tool that I use to send personalized thank yous to my customers in the form of videos. Now, there are different ways that you can do personalized thank yous. You can do written ones. A good tool for doing written ones is a business called Scribeless. You can Google that and you'll find them. They actually will send customized handwritten notes every time you make a sale. And that can be automated as well, which is another cool thing to do. And I did do that a long time in the past. But now I just like to record simple video messages. And this tool will let you record it just off whatever computer you're working on, or you can do it off a mobile phone even. And it'll send the video straight to them in an email. And you can integrate it in so that when you make a sale, it automatically gives you a task in this tool to record a message. I do it once a week, just batch them up, send them out, and customers love it, right? Nobody does this stuff these days very much. So if you're the business in your niche that's doing that, people love it. They'll share it. They'll talk about it. They'll talk about it online. This tool has plenty of case studies of people actually using it and getting a lot of feedback online. So I've done multiple different ways of thanking customers, and sending these videos has got the highest response rate for me from customers. So I get replies for about 1 in 3 of these thank yous that I send to customers, and an engagement there. And that's very important because I want my customers to buy from me again in the future, right? So forming that more personal relationship with them means that in the future, they're more likely to buy from me again than one of my competitors, because almost never are my competitors doing something like this. So it's a little bit of extra work, but the payoff is definitely there. And then the very last tool that I'm going to talk about is Video Peel. Actually, it's not the very last tool. There's one more that I've just sprung into my mind that I forgot. Video Peel is a video review platform. So video reviews are awesome. If you can get your customers to do a review of a product they bought from you with the product on the video and things like that, just talking about it rough, it can be a bit rough, whatever, that's so powerful to then put on your product page, right? It adds so much credibility, so much social proof. but it also demonstrates your product in a unique way that your competitors can't have on their website. And anything you can do to give yourself an edge over your competitors in this way for high-ticket drop shipping is a massive, massive bonus. So most review platforms for Shopify allow people to submit video reviews, but they're really clunky in how the customer does that. Video Appeal makes it super easy for people to record the videos and submit them to you in all-in-one motion, basically on their phone. It's super easy to use. I use it for all of my businesses, actually, not just the e-commerce ones. And it really works very, very well, both for me as the person seeking the reviews, but also it works very well for the customers on their end. So if you want to encourage people to leave video reviews, you got to make it as easy as possible, right? That's one of the barriers that people face. They think, oh, video review, that sounds hard to do. Yeah, I'll just leave a text review. And text reviews are great, but you want to use video reviews. And I've completely forgot the reviews platforms that I use, so I'm going to mention that right now. I use 3. 2 I can't really split apart. So I use Stamped.io or Judge.me. Both are on the Shopify App Store. Both are very good tools. They're pretty cheap. They have good functionality. You can do image reviews, all that sort of stuff. They have great ways you can demonstrate your reviews on your website, very customizable. So they're both good options. If your business is bigger and you want to really step things up a bit, the other one I've used for years is Yotpo. It's one of the ones that's been around the longest for Shopify, but it is very expensive these days. They've made a play more for the Shopify Plus end of the market and the bigger stores, and they've kind of priced themselves out of beginner stores. But it's a fantastic tool with a lot of integration and functionality. And so that's what I would use when I built a store to probably at least doing $1 million a year in revenue or more. I would look at switching over to Yotpo and taking advantage of a few additional functionalities that they offer there. So that is literally it. That is pretty much most of the apps, at least that I could think of off the top of my head. There's a lot there, apps and tools that I use. But absolutely, as I said, I don't use all of these all the time on every site. Some of them I only use in particular use cases, but literally I've tested so many different tools and apps, and these are the ones that I found I definitely use on a regular basis, and they all in some way help me to generate money. That's the most important thing. If you're going to use an app, you've got to know, how is this app going to put money back in my pocket? And is that money going to exceed the cost of having that app on my site? And if you can't answer that question, if you don't know how it's going to do it, then you don't need the app and don't add it in. So hope you enjoyed that. Like I said at the start, I'm actually going to put all of the links to all of those different tools and apps with the recording on our platform that you can get access to for free by going to buildsellgrowrepeat.com/corona-files. And of course, if you know of any great apps and you think that I've missed them out on this live, please chuck a comment in and let me know. I'm always looking to check out new tools and things like that. So jump in, let us know, share the love, and of course, other people will be able to check it out. So thanks for your time on this episode. We'll be back again tomorrow with episode 25. But until then, take care, and I'll see you soon.